Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to another flight in the Airbus A400. Today we're going to transport 15 tons of cargo from Munich down to RAF Gibraltar, which has a very interesting approach, which I'm really looking forward to flying in this spectacular Airbus A400. But for the time being, let's get ready and board our aircraft in preparation for our flight. Now, before we are going to actually start any of the pre-flight preparations over here, let's go ahead, get up into the cockpit and take a quick seat on the crew bunks and have a look into our flight plan. Our colleagues are here already, but I kind of like sitting down here on the crew bunk, which is probably a little bit more comfy than those seats which we are going to be stuck in for the next 3.5 hours anyway. But hey, let's go ahead and start reviewing our flight plan before anything else. So here's our flight plan from Munich to Gibraltar on the 6th of January 2025 as the German Air Force 441. Now we are flying in the Airbus A400 and we have a takeoff weight of around 121 tons today. Looking at the route, it's southbound over the Alps and then more or less a straight line all the way down to Gibraltar. The significant weather charts do list a little bit of low-level stuff, some CBs over Alicante down to Malaga up till flight level 280, but we should be far above that today. Now, last but not least, let's go ahead and have a look into the airport weather. So Gibraltar today, a little bit gusty from the west over here, promising us a straight in approach. And overall good weather conditions, and our alternate Sevilla has very good weather throughout the day today. Tomorrow it's gonna get a little bit foggy in the morning, but today awesome weather conditions. Therefore, if we move up into the flight plan and check our planned fuel, then 15.8 is gonna be our planned takeoff fuel plus 400 kilos taxi, so 16.2. Now let's go ahead, take a few minutes extra over here, like 10 minutes more, to be on the safe side here regarding the CBs that we might have to circumnavigate. So 10 minutes more gives us around 700 kilos extra. So if we just make that 17 tons of fuel, then we should be more than safe enough. So 17 tons is decided, and then we can now take a seat on the captain's seat and start to prepare our A400 for today's service. So safety inspection is looking good. Then let's turn the batteries on and the external power as well. Now with that done, let's have the aircraft power itself up, and in the meantime we're going to power the blue hydraulic pump so that the cargo ramp can be opened so that they can start loading up all our cargo. So with the basics out of the way, let's go ahead and run the fire tests. Looking good, and APU is starting up then. Here we go, nav light on for the walk around, and the IRSs are also coming on. And here we go. Now for the safety aspects of the flight. We have sufficient oxygen on board, then we do have sufficient hydraulic quantities on board, and last but not least we do have sufficient oil quantity on board. The flap lever is in agreement with the actual flap position, and the ground spoilers are disarmed. Last but not least, let's check our alternate brakes here. And here we go. So that's looking good, and the parking brake is set again. Accumulator pressure is decreasing slightly, but all within limits, and that's it. So blue hydraulic pump is coming back off, and that's our initial safety items completed down here. Now let's go ahead and start to run our flight deck preparations. So the light test is looking very good over here. Apart from that, everything is set up here on the main panel. We are set as well now. APU bleed is coming on, and well, before we can actually refuel, or before we can turn on the pumps, we gotta refuel. So number one, let's import our SimBrief flight plan in the EFB over here. And number two, let's import our SimBrief weights over here. And then we can set our takeoff weight, which is, or rather our takeoff fuel, which is going to be 17 tons. Apply the load, please. And that's it. Wonderful. So then, since we are now refueled, let's turn on the pumps. Like that. Then we can do the engine fire test, which is looking good. And over here there is nothing we need to set. Well then, let's move a little bit further down, and number one, grab the current weather, and we have a QNH of 999er. Which is now set. On the right hand side everything's looking good, down here everything's good, and then we can move on. Transponder above can already be pre-selected, the IFF stays off for now, and then let's do our FMS pre-flight. For that, let's get that table out, because that is always a good thing. Airbus. You can see the strain of pilots having their glasses on here. Alright, so our mission number is the 441. And we're going from Munich to Gibraltar, alternate Sevilla, flight level 310. Then our IRSs will be available in 4 minutes. Departure, runway. Well, which runway is actually active? Let's go ahead and find out. So, the ATIS is on 123.130. And we're gonna switch that active, and we'll make sure that we actually listen to it as well.
Moonkin information Papa. Automatic. Met report time 1350 Zulu. Expect vectors for independent parallel ILS approach runway 26 left and 26 right runway.
So 26 left and right.
26 right. Transition level 70. Wind 100 degrees 3 knots variable between 060 and 150 degrees. Cab OK. Temperature 8. Dew point 4 QNH 997 trend. Noted Moonkin information Papa. Out.
Okay, they say 997, that's fine with me as well.
Automatic. Met report time 1350 Zulu. Expect.
Okay, perfect. So, that much for the basic weather. So I do expect runway 26 left for our departure. Here we go. And the SID is going to be the Turbo 7 Sierra then. What's it doing there? Here we go, Turbo 7 Sierra. Alright, temporary and insert, then we can remove the discontinuity up here. And then for our destination, let's go to the arrival. And it's going to be runway 09, 1,800 meters, and... Did I say 09? Wrong runway. 27. And we'll just take the visual approach to runway 27. Well, then let's go ahead and have a look at the chart and compare what we have. So, Munich, here it is, and we'll take the charts, runway 26 left. Let's wait until that loads up. If it does. Which it doesn't. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Then let's go for the Navigraph charts. Those are wonderful as well, aren't they? So can anyone close that main entry door? It is getting a little bit loud here. Here we go, that's better. Alright, so gotta get rid of that flight and download the latest from SimBrief right over here. Munich to Gibraltar. So here we go, we can select our SID over there and we'll take the RNAV version of the chart. That's it. So let's go for the daylight charts, please. Alright, Turbo 7 Sierra, straight at Delta Mike 049er and maximum 210 knots above 1,900 feet. Let's make sure constraints are selected so that we can verify that. Thereafter we continue to Delta Mike 050, max 210, Ottersberg, max 250, and then inbound to Turbo. Initial climb clearance is flight level 70. Here we go. And that's our setup complete. So let's do a very quick cross check for the rest of our flight. And here we go, that is all looking good. Perfect. Then we can get rid of that chart again, and let's go over to the performance initialization. So, nav aids, well, we can choose Ottersberg up here since we kinda need that for the flight. That's gonna be Oscar Tango Tango, Ottersberg, and that's it. Right, that's an interesting return. That's not where we wanted to go. So, init, fuel and load. So let's have a look at our numbers. Our plant zero fuel weight is 105 tons and the CG 28.7. So, zero fuel weight, 105, insert, and the CG 28.7. Okay, block fuel 17 tons. That's it, and the reserves are going to be 5%. Now let's give it a little bit of time to calculate here. Here we go, extra fuel, 600 kilos, 23 minutes. Wonderful. Then last but not least, onto the performance pages. Takeoff shift, well, let's have another look into the airport chart down here. And we can take an intersection Bravo 12 for the departure, even Bravo 10. That saves us a little bit of taxi time. Then let's find out the distance for that. So airport info, takeoff minimums. So runway 26 left, Bravo 10, we have 2,200 meters. The entire runway is 4,000, that means we have a shift of 1,800 meters. Alright, so temperature is +5. And that's that. So THS is going to be 29. And then all the other figures are correct. So takeoff performance computation and insert. Thank you very much. So that's our entire flight plan now programmed. Optimum level 308, we're planned on level 310, that's just about perfect. And then I'd say with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and start with our departure briefing, please. Alright, thank you. So, we're departing Munich on runway 26 left, Turbo 7 Sierra departure, climbing flight level 70, and we have an MSA at 3,700 feet. We don't need to do any cold temperature corrections today, and that's it. Okay, wonderful. So, no hotspots for the taxi routing. In case of an engine failure, we proceed on the runway track 25 miles out, pick up the holding over there. And should we have any abnormals that require an immediate re-landing, we can either come back here to Munich, or we also have a couple of Air Force bases in the area where we can return to. In any case, we're above the maximum landing weight, so we gotta read the overweight landing checklist if time permits. And that's my main considerations here. Do you have anything else? No? Perfect. Then I don't have any specials or non-standards, so cockpit preparation checklist down to the line, please. Or before start checklist down to the line. It's an older Airbus after all. So cockpit prep complete, gear pins and covers removed, fuel quantity 17 tons, takeoff data set, altimeter reference, QNH 99907, and IRS is checked before start checklist complete, down to the line. Alright, so far so good. Then let's see if we can get an IFR clearance. That's going to be 121.710.
Number 4, yeah, Echo 2. Echo, November 4, we
Alright, transmit on VHF1, please. München Ground, Servus, German Air Force 441 Heavy, information, Papa request startup and clearance.
German Air Force 441, A low number 1 clearance stop.
Okay, standing by for the clearance then.
Then clear traffic in front, Boeing 747-800, taxi.
Alright, so they should be done with the loading by now, so let's go ahead and first of all get the door open again, and then we can turn on that hydraulic pump, and we can also get GSX to prepare the position for pushback and departure. Handling by Swissport, that's fine.
of traffic.
So the main door is closing, the cargo door is also closing, then external power is disconnected, and remove the GPU and remove the chocks. Alright, so far, so good. So everything is done preparing the aircraft down here. Now it's just waiting for IFR clearance.
Alpha request IFR clearance to Oslo, information Papa.
Okay, so everything is set over here, everything is set over here, the briefing is completed, we don't have any passengers on board except for the staff, so we don't need to do any announcement.
Hello, Lufthansa 27 Foxtrot with information Papa on board, then 248, request clearance to Raymond.
Okay, I tend to say we are all good to go, just waiting for ATC now. Though I would kind of hope that he uses the... Here we go. AFM, go ahead.
Development 441 information, Quebec, startup approved, clear to Gibraltar. Turbo 7 Sierra departure, flight plan route, climb via SIT, flight at 70, squawk 2335.
German Air Force 441 Heavy is cleared Gibraltar, Turbo 7 Sierra departure, flight plan route, climb flight level 70, squawk 2335, and we are fully ready for pushback.
German Air Force 441, read back correct, pushback approved.
Pushback approved, German Air Force 441. Alright, so Turbo 7 Sierra is confirmed. Squawk 2335. Here we go. Transponder on. And that's it. Okay.
Munich ground Austrian 22 at
Before start checklist below the line. Beacon, both bright. Before start checklist complete. Alright. Turn from flight deck. Yeah, go ahead. So, pushback approved, runway 26 left, and the parking brake is set.
301 Alpha and PSEG and Waze, Austrian 22.
Okay, that's gonna be facing east onto Romeo. Release your parking brakes.
Whiskey 2, Delta 6.
Parking brake released. Start on the pushback, stand by for engine start.
Tower on 118.705 Tower.
The tower is at the 3 kilo.
And here we go. So, sounds rather busy over here, but that's just about how we like it, isn't it? Provided that we get our clearances on time, that is. Okay, so there's a road over here, we gotta get clear of that, and then we can commence our engine startup.
Lufthansa to the Uniform April, hello. Taxi to stand 253 via Delta 4 Echo 2.
Okay. So, starting engines 1, 2, 3, 4 in that sequence. Engine 1 start.
Lufthansa 1, extra Alpha, ready copy clearance.
Ready to copy.
And here we go. Number 1 is starting.
Startup approved, cleared to Oslo. Input 2 November departure, flight plan route, climb via SIT.
Engine start full. Thrust levers not at idle. Thrust levers idle. Oh, they... Okay, they were a tiny bit above that. Didn't see that. Beacon actions complete.
Input
Smart aircraft, isn't it?
Departure,
I do like
climb
it.
via SIT to 7000 and squawk 2334.
Okay, good start on 1, starting 2.
Lufthansa 1 extra Alpha, read back correct.
We'll probably not be able to see much of that, at least not from the inside.
Target 1084, taxi to entry November 1, near Whiskey 1. Taxi to entry November 1, near Whiskey 1.
Okay, and we have a good start on engine 2, starting engine 3. Clear 3.
Engine ground, hello, Lufthansa.
And avail. So, number 3. Right, pushback complete, set parking brake. Parking brake set. So I'm wondering, With a lot of military equipment, people say in general that the specifications are always so far below the actual capabilities, and I'm wondering if that's the case with the engine start of the A400 as well. So I'm really wondering if it could just start 2 engines at the same time. So we have a good start on 3, starting 4. I suppose we could just try it in the simulation, but I wouldn't be surprised if the simulation isn't quite accurate there anyway. Okay, so number 4 is starting, and here comes the tuck. Okay, and we have 4 good engine starts, clear to disconnect, show me the pin on the right hand side, please have a wonderful day, bye bye.
Tango information Quebec started with roof clear to Berlin, Atini 1 November departure, flight plan route, climb via SID to flight level 70, squawk 1000.
Clear to Berlin, Atini 1 November departure, via SID, flight level 70, squawk 1000, Lufthansa to Tango.
Okay, waiting for the clear signal, but he should be there any moment now. And there he comes, holding a pin in the hands. Beautiful. Okay, come on, just show us the sign now, please.
70, squawk 2331, Lufthansa to Charlie Heavy, and we are ready for pushback.
Okay, clear signal received after start checklist. And yes, off, pitch trim checked before start. Sorry, after start checklist complete. Flight control check.
Contact tower on 118.
Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. German Air Force 441, request taxi, and we are able Bravo 10.
German Air Force 441, copied, taxi to entry Sierra 4 via Romeo.
Taxi entry Sierra 4 via Romeo, German Air Force 441. Okay, clear left side, clear right side. So, entry Sierra 4, let's have a quick look where that is.
Push and pull, pushback.
That's all the way to the end, so all the way straight, and then the entry on the right hand side. Perfect.
Until clear of data one.
Push both face south, and please repeat the next.
Push forward until you are clear of data one.
Push forward until you're clear of Delta 1, Lufthansa 2 Takeoff.
So, brake check. Brakes okay.
Ground easy 2198 for step.
Easy to 198,
So we're going straight ahead over here, past the Lufthansa Technik hangars, which by the way look really good in the SimWings scenery, don't they? For those of you wondering, since I got the question a couple of times, I'm using the SimWings scenery, simply copy and paste it from the FS 2020 version. By the way, I just really love the looks here. But in my opinion, really well modeled hangar. I really like the graphics. If only we could open the gates, that'd be superb. I think he's taking us on Romeo over here instead of Sierra over there, so that we stay clear of any of those arriving aircraft here, like that Lot Embraer.
Delta India Mike Alpha,
Delta Alpha India Mike Alpha. Isn't that an A380? VFR departure to the south?
Delta Alpha India Mike Alpha, QNH 9998, runway 265.
Okay, 9998.
You expect 26 left for south departure.
QNH 999, expect runway 26 left for south departure.
Okay, reaching the entry right over here.
And Delta Mike Alpha report aircraft type.
0 SR22,
Okay. The real Delta Alpha India Mike Alpha is an A380, I think. And the real... 120.505, German Air Force 441, ciao, danke. München Tower, Servus, German Air Force 441 Heavy, entry Sierra 4, able Bravo 10.
German Air Force 441 München Tower, schön, the arms get right to left, crossing right to left, and take the warning point runway 26 left, Bravo 10, and Sierra, Bravo 10.
Behind the lot, taxi holding point 26 left via Sierra and Bravo 10, German Air Force 441. Okay, we are clear of the lot.
Radar 127, decimal 955, 127.955, danke, ciao.
Okay, off to the left, and then we're going to Bravo 10. That is going to be the first taxiway to the right after the apron.
Confirm 123, decimal 905.
2 Fox November 26 right.
Alright, I have no changes to the takeoff briefing.
Lufthansa 2 Fox November München Tower.
Taxi checklist to the line, please. Or before takeoff checklist to the line. I don't even want to get into the wrong wording over here, because Airbus has changed all those checklists a little bit, I think in 2016, 2017-ish. Okay, in any case, before takeoff checklist. So, flight control, flight instruments, checked. Flight controls, checked. Briefing, confirmed. V1, VRV2, 127, 127, 135. IFF, set. Radar and transponder. I need a first officer here.
2 Fox November.
So, radar and predictive wind shear. On and auto, windows closed, before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. Okay, Bravo 10 is the next to the right.
Lufthansa Fahrzeug 9er, vielen Dank, Taxi Tower Entry November 3 via Alpha 9er at November, get to Tomjet Boeing 737, crossing right to left.
To entry November 3 and giving way to Tomjet.
So, Bravo 10 is confirmed over here.
35 kilo, wind 35 degrees 3 knots, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff, keep it rolling. Takeoff 26 right, that's 35 kilo. German Air Force 441, wind 35 degrees 3 knots, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
German Air Force 441, runway 26 left, cleared for takeoff. Kevin, prepare for departure, please.
Lufthansa 27 Fox, München Tower, schönen guten Abend, Taxi to holding point.
Before takeoff checklist below the line.
November, Alpha 13.
So, takeoff runway 26 left, Bravo 10.
Alpha 13 via November.
Loadmaster advised, PAX 1 and 2 on, before takeoff checklist complete.
11710, danke dir, ciao.
Alright, clear on the left side as far as we can see anyway. Didn't the takeoff memo actually show all green on the before takeoff checklist to the line? That's interesting. Alright, in any case, that is completed now.
2 Fox November, clear to land, 26 right.
Takeoff.
35 Echo, Sierra 7.
Lots 35 Echo, contact apron.
Mantoga, SRS, auto thrust blue.
Contact apron on the 121 with 171.
Power set.
35 Echo.
.100 knots. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Check.
Disconnect, having steering issues.
200 Foxtrot, no problem, bye-bye.
Alright, and here we go.
35 kilo, we are at Shutdown.
Autopilot 1.
5 kilo, contact mention radar 123.905, bye-bye, and stop climb, please. We stop climb, and 123.905, that's 35.
Power MCL, climb auto thrust. Flap 0.
German Air Force 441,
Speed check.
contact mention radar 127.955, please.
127.955, German Air Force 441, tschüss.
Lufthansa 2 Foxtrot November.
Cleared ILS 26 left.
Lufthansa 18, turn left heading 080.
München Radar, hello, German Air Force 441 Heavy, passing 4,200, climbing flight level 70.
Also das Stop, dann das German Air Force 441 München Radar, hello, identified, climb via set to flight level 150.
Climb via set, flight level 150, German Air Force 441. Okay, 15,000 blue, set standard.
35 kilo at 7,000.
Standard cross check, passing flight level 62
Radar, hello,
now.
identified, climb via
Checked.
set to flight level 100.
Okay, after takeoff checklist below the line, altimeter reference, standard cross check,
258, contact München Radar,
engine start selector, norm, and RA override off. After takeoff checklist complete. Alrighty. So, that was an interesting departure. Very good ATC by the Germans once again. Usually they are very good. Nice view down on Munich airport over there with the Lufthansa apron. Looking excellent. I did appreciate that one very much. So,
LTU 4822, are we cleared for the on-off transition?
LTU 4822 München Radar, hello, identified information.
now that's an interesting call. Are we cleared for the on-off transition? Well, you know, just do your standard initial call, and I'm sure it's going to clear you.
Lufthansa 2 Charlie Lima, fly heading 110.
Okay, passing 10,000.
110
Lights off. Well, that might
Lufthansa 2 Charlie Lima and
include a little bit of turbulence there. We'll ignore that for the time. We'll ignore the seatbelt sign for the time being.
Lufthansa 18,
Then
heading
airports
230, cleared
and
island.
airports.
Sorry.
Lufthansa 18, right heading 230, cleared island approach runway 26 right.
Blocked again.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Lufthansa 18, turn right heading 230, cleared island.
Especially when someone is cleared for an approach, it's a pretty good idea to wait until that guy has gotten their turns
Charlie Victor, turn left heading 080.
before calling in a second time if you're the one blocking.
Flight level 211 noch.
Lufthansa 3 Yankee München Radar, hello, identified.
Okay, approaching.
441, contact München Radar, 132.5557.
132.555, German Air Force 411, servus.
LTU 4822.
München Radar, grüß Gott, German Air Force 441 Heavy, flight level 138, climbing 150.
German Air Force 441, München Radar, servus identified. Proceed direct top, so climb to flight level 310.
Direct topsail, climb flight level 310, German Air Force 441. Okay, climb alt cruise flight level 310 blue.
KLM 4
And direct topsail.
1000.
So, optimum 308, cruise 310, maximum 326. Then we can clear the RATNAV page here.
Also 450, monitor Honeycomb, ciao.
450 for Unicom, 128. 450.
Looks like it's done that automatically anyway. Okay, doesn't matter.
Yeah, go
Here we are. So with that, we're all set and ready to go.
Descend now to flight level 200.
Well,
200, Lufthansa 135.
I think we are more or less going to stay clear of those clouds up here, but we'll wait a little bit with the seatbelt sign until we're 100% sure. And well then, I tend to say we're going to speed this one up a bit, and then I see you as we are getting closer to Gibraltar. we're slowly approaching the top of descent. Let's go ahead and start to prepare our aircraft for the approach into Gibraltar. So we are going to start by having a look at the latest weather information, and we can find that right here on the EFB. Wind 290 at 14, 10 kilometers, few clouds, 3,217 degrees, QNH 1014. Well, first things first, as always, if we learn about the QNH, we are going to dial it in. So 1014 is going into the active and into the standby. Like that, and thereafter don't forget to go back to standard over here. Now, next up, let's start to prepare for the actual approach. Let's bring up the plan mode, and then we are going to zoom in a little bit and go down here into the flight plan page, and then we can zoom down a little bit for the available approaches. Now, from PMAS, we are basically going to fly straight in for the runway 27. Basically, it's going to be radar vectors until we have the runway in sight, and from then on we are going to fly the visual approach. Now, that's everything we need over here. There is no published instrument procedure available over there anymore, so with that we can go into the performance pages. The descent page is looking good, that matches what we want to do. Then on the approach page we said we have a wind of 290 at 14. So 290 at 14, enter. The temperature is 17 and the QNH 1017. Sorry, 1014. Okay, now since we are going to fly a visual approach, we do not need any minimums down there, and therefore we can either leave it free or we can use something as a placeholder. For example, we could use 500 feet as a reminder of our stabilized approach gate. However, different operators apply different procedures there, and you can more or less decide what you want to do. Now, we're going to go with the minimum in 500 today, since I find that to be a rather easy solution. Now let's go ahead and have a look into the arrival charts. So over here we can see that there's only surveillance radar approaches available and visual approaches, and we want to have a look into the visual approaches today. There is the Yankee approach, which is basically straight in, and then there is also the approach for military aircraft that's coming in slightly offset over here, so that we don't fly into the restricted area up here in Spain. And basically that's the one we're going to fly. So we'll fly on a 278 inbound track from a 10 DME radar fix. Now, we could go ahead and create an artificial waypoint for that, so that'll be on the flight plan page, and then go down a little bit. So after PMAS, we can insert the next waypoint, and that one is going to be LXGB runway 27 / now we need the opposite track over here, that's 278, so the opposite is 098 / 10 nautical miles, and that'd be a possibility of something we could use over here. So now we have that place bearing distance waypoint, and if we head down here, that's basically where we end up. So that way we can be sure to keep clear of the restricted area in Spanish airspace over there. As you can see, civilian aircraft are permitted to penetrate Spanish airspace, military aircraft are not, so for that reason we are going to come in from the south. Now, lots of information down there, but the most important thing is going to be the missed approach, which is climbed to 4,000 feet, heading as directed by radar. And then we have another chart available that we should have a look at, and that is the wind effect chart. Now let's bring that one up as well, and with a mean wind direction coming here from the west, you can see we are expecting downdrafts over here, and then updrafts just prior to the runway. And we should be well aware of that for the approach, so that in case it happens, we know what to expect and when to expect it. Now today the wind isn't primarily from down here, that's mostly for winds coming from between 200 degrees and 250 degrees. Since the winds are coming from 270 degrees today, it's more or less down on the runway. So if at all, I'm expecting a little bit of turbulence somewhere over here due to maybe the last part of the rock over there, but we'll see about that. And of course it also depends on how the winds are going to develop with rising altitude. In any case, that's pretty much our FMS completely set up now. There's not all that much else that we need to do. I am going to go into the secondary flight plan and import the active over there, so that we do have a backup available in case something goes wrong, if we have to edit the flight plan again during the approach. So next up, let's have a look at the airport itself. So Gibraltar Airport has a civil apron in the north and a military apron in the south. We're landing on runway 27, and the runway is around about 1,800 meters long, with a little bit of a displaced threshold over here. We'll be rolling all the way to the end, make a 180 over there, and then come back, vacate to the south via Charlie. And since we have 1,800 meters available, I will use auto brakes low and idle reverse, but no more than that. Now, last but not least, it is a good idea to have a look into the general section down here as well. And the main road crosses the runway at the midpoint, and that's roundabout over here. So that's something to have a good look out when we fly the approach, to make sure that we do not run into any vehicles. Now that takes my typical threats anything with wheels on it briefing quite a bit further. Alright, so that's the main briefings and the main preparations that we had to do for the arrival. With that out of the way, I would suggest we are going to go ahead and do the approach briefing, please. So you can start. Alright, thanks. So as you already mentioned, the main threat for the arrival is the vehicles. The approach itself is going to be a visual approach on runway 27. We have dialed in a minimum of 500. Whether we need it or not is a different question. And in case of go-around, it's going to be radar vectored most likely. Once we pass the end of the runway, we're going to make a left-hand turn southbound to remain over the ocean, climbing to 4,000 feet, and then we decide on the further actions. Our primary alternate is Sevilla, and we can just have a look at the weather conditions over there as well. Lima, Echo, Zulu, Lima. Search. And as you can see, Sevilla has very good weather as well, so that's nothing to worry about. Now, that much out of the way, extra fuel and time. We have 1 hour and 57 minutes extra. That's quite a bit. I didn't expect to have that much fuel, to be honest. But alright, better have it than need it. And that is absolutely true. So we're going to fly the visual approach with flight director guidance. Or without flight director guidance, of course, but with the bird on. Now, we do not have any specials on this one. Config full, auto brakes low, reverse idle, and we'll have to roll all the way to the runway end and then make a 180-degree turn over there anyway. Well, crossing the road on the way in. Gotta make especially sure that no car accidentally passes or tries to slip by, because they might see, oh yeah, now the aircraft has landed, now I can just slip by past the gates. So good look outside, and in general good look out for any birds. Bird concentrations might be an issue due to the large rock over there and all the animals that might be growing over there. Now, I don't have any specials or non-standards except for what we already talked about, and I don't see any threats either. Do you? Nope. Wonderful. So that's our briefing completed. So we've passed 10,000 feet and we are now on the arrival into Gibraltar. Now, out of PMOS we would expect radar vectors in the real world, so let's go ahead and do just that and go on to heading mode right now. So in speed, vertical speed and heading, our speed is 250 knots and we've just passed 10,000 feet, so the lights are on, the signs are on. We don't need the LS today, and we're initially descending to 5,000 feet, and lower will come a little bit later. Alright, approach checklist please. Briefing, confirmed, ECAM status, checked, nav modes, checked, altimeter reference, QNH 1014, TORS Set minimum Barrow 500, engine start selector, norm approach checklist complete. Alright. So, something you might have noticed during our descent was that I used vertical speed mode in order to parallel the glide. Now, I'm not 100% sure why that happens, but if I try to go into descent mode, let's just go to nav again and then to descent, then you can see for some reason it sets an altitude restriction at our cruising level, where I've really no idea why it's doing that. But for that reason, we just went into vertical speed mode and paralleled the glide path here. Alrighty, so that much for our basic situation right now. Now the sun is shining right into our eyes, we can barely read the heads-up display, that's just wonderful, but we can already see Gibraltar over there and the famous rock, so we are almost there. Now let's take a short moment here to discuss how we are going to fly the visual approach. Now, most importantly, we got to be at a good altitude, at a good position. And that is luckily the easy part of the job, because the FMS is calculating all of that. So the FMS is calculating, well, it's indicating nonsense over here. We're not going to be in 10 foot at the deceleration point, at least I hope we aren't going to be. But it's bringing us in on a nice 3-degree glide, so that's basically our final position anyway. Now, the center fix is 4 nautical miles from the runway. That means we want to be at 1200 over the CF, and the PBD03 point is exactly 10 miles out from the airport, even though it says something different over here. Ignore that for the time being. We created it 10 miles out from the airport, so we want to be in 3000 feet overhead the place bearing distance point, and then we'll be on a nice 3-degree glide slope. So let's descend to 3000 feet now, and then we can make a right-hand turn onto a heading of 250 as vectoring for the approach. Now, our level of error indicates pretty much 3000 at the PBD03, but we are doing a power on descent over here, as we are only doing like 1400 feet a minute. So if we just take that power back to idle, then we'll nicely end up in deceleration towards our approach speed. Now let's get one last weather update, see if anything changed, and indeed, it's now 270 at 16, gust 26, 10 kilometers, and still 17 degrees 1014, but the wind has changed rather significantly. It's now headwind at up to 26 knots, and the 10 knots gust is new, so let's update our FMS. So performance, approach, and in here we now have 270, and we'll enter 16 knots. We are not going to enter the gusts over there. The aircraft is going to calculate that all on its own. Alrighty. So something tells me that that level of error is definitely incorrect. We're not going to need 10 miles for 1000 feet here. Let's do something easy, like 700 feet a minute. Our destination is now about 25 miles out. So we are rather low at the moment. We once again had some incorrect display indications here. Now let's enter a direct to the center fix for now. Or actually direct to the PBD point. My apologies for that one. So PBD03. And let's hit that, and right away go back to nav mode. That way our flight plan is sequenced and we're getting better guidance for the approach. Around about 8 miles to run to the PBD, and we're going to leave the PBD in 3000, and then we'll do a nice and easy approach on our way down. So about 5 miles prior to the PBD I will start reducing our speed. Until then we can keep everything the way it is. Now let's make a right-hand turn heading 270 to be sure we go into the correct direction here. Gibraltar traffic, German Air Force 441 Heavy, 20 miles, final runway 27. All star. Alright, we can see the rock. The airport should be just next to that. A little hard to see though. I think I can see the runway just over there. In any case, once we get closer, we are going to be able to see it a little bit better. In any case, the field is in sight, so cleared for the visual approach. And then let's activate the approach phase. Here we go. Activate and confirm. With that, our airspeed starts to reduce, and once we pass the PVD-03, we're going to go into 3-degree descent. So let's pre-select FPA mode. And then we're meant to come in on a 278 bearing to the field, so we can already go to track mode. And that should be roughly 278 now, so let's turn towards the field. Will you? Interesting, it's not following it. Okay, doesn't matter. Let's have some fun. So, flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 1. Alright, we're passing the PBD, turning towards the field, and then we're looking for a 3-degree descent. In the real world this would be very easy now, because we could simply put our flight path vector right onto the runway, and that's it. Unfortunately though, I'm not 100% positive that the flight path vector over here indeed matches what we are supposed to fly. Go around altitude 4000 set, and then gear down. So listen to that, they are already preparing the ambulances for my upcoming landing. Okay, let's level off in 1500, and from there we are going to continue our descent once we are 5 miles out. So, flaps 2, and flaps 3, flaps 4, flaps full. So, runway is over there. Landing checklist. Loadmaster advised. Auto thrust mode speed. Auto brake low. Landing checklist complete. Okay, that's about 5 miles now. The Poppy still shows us 4 reds though. So let's make sure we make it a very shallow descent. We have 21 knots of headwind, giving us the ground speed of 120, so we are looking at 600 feet a minute rate of descent for a 3-degree approach, a little bit less for us. So, flight directors off. And now we'll just continue straight ahead until we are right on the Poppies. Poppies just over there. If you go to the 4K 40-inch resolution now, then you will probably be able to read them, otherwise it might be a little bit hard. Now we have 3 reds. Let's start slowly turning towards the final. And Poppy 2 whites, 2 reds. 120 knots ground speed, so 600 feet a minute rate of descent should keep us nicely on the profile. Getting a little bit low again, correcting for that. And here's the reason why I think that this flight path vector is just not accurate. You can see it's pointing far behind the runway, and even though we're almost on the Poppies, it would require us to do like an 8-degree descent here. Not gonna do that, so let's just get rid of the heads-up display here. I have a feeling it's gonna be easier to fly this thing manually. Checked, auto thrust off. Continue. So, visual approach, that means the stabilized approach gate is at 300. Continue.
2 on sync rate.
No, no sync rate. It's just 1,000.
100.
Short runway.
40. 30. 20. 10.
Now that was a smooth touchdown. And indeed, we did have the downdrafts that were forecast from the chart. So that's pretty cool. Alright, and that is 70 knots. Manual brakes. Alright, I really think we can just do the 180 over here, can we? Why is it stopping the turn? For some reason it just started going straight instead of turning. No clue why it did that. But here we go. That's better. And we still managed to turn on the runway. Perfect. So, look at that road. I told you it would be a little bit busy over here. There was one truck that just passed the runway just prior to our landing, but I think now that we're getting a little closer, yeah, one guy always tries to sneak by. Well, well. I'll pretend I haven't seen a thing. Especially not you guys. Same position in the windshield, that means a collision. Okay, starting the APU, and then we are gonna vacate and we'll park somewhere right over here in front of the main buildings. I don't think there are any marked parkings over here, so we'll just go wherever we see fit. Well, and here we are. So the parking brake is set, and we are still waiting for the APU to come online. Let's see what the current status is. APU, okay, 35%. Well, let's go ahead and feather the engines already. That APU is taking a little bit longer than I thought initially. Just to be on the safe side, there is no after-landing checklist here, right? Oh, there is. Okay, after-landing checklist. Exterior lights. Set, IFF set, radar and predictive wind shear off, after-landing checklist complete. Okay, so the APU should be available any moment now, and here it is. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so engines are running down, then alright, that's set, the engines are off, so beacon light going off and seatbelt signs going off. Parking checklist, please. So, external lights set, parking brake and chocks, brake set, parking checklist complete. Well then, let's go ahead and unload our cargo. So the chocks are gonna go into position, we'll open the one left, and then the blue elec pump can come on, and main cargo door open. I gotta say, this looks pretty cool over here, doesn't it? Pretty cool indeed. In any case, they're unloading now. We also have a ground power unit here, so we can shut down that APU, save a little bit of fuel. After all, it's all taxpayers' money. And then we are gonna shut this one down, so thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed the flight with us. Let me know in the comments below, and remember, without your feedback, I can't improve those videos either. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. For now though, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.